Well, hello and welcome to another Daily Dominion. It's a pretty late hour for me, but I thought this kingdom was just a bit too much fun to not uh, present to you. And so, yeah, I decided after a long night out, spending a bit of time in the park and a bit of time in the beer garden, I might try to play through this with you. And yeah, this kingdom is very interesting. It's a dual set kingdom as well, like yesterday, because it's a Friday. No, it might be triple set, right? Yeah, there's Menagerie, there's in Bounty Hunter and Slay, there is Rising Sun and Daimyo and Snake Witch and Root Cellar and Kintsugi, and there's some Prosperity in King's Court and Charlatan. But as always, I will start by going through the cards first, and if you're not interested in that, feel free to skip to the next timestamp. We have Daimyo, one of the strongest cards in modern Dominion. It says plus one card, plus one action, and the next time you play a non-command action card this turn, replay it afterwards. So let's say you play a Daimyo and then a Snake Witch, then the Snake Witch will be replayed afterwards. So instead of just giving plus one card and plus one action, it will give you plus two cards and plus two action, already turning a simple card like the Snake Witch into a Lost City. So if you can line that up, it's super strong. And here there's even this crazy interaction with King's Court, which I'll get into in a bit. And it costs six debt. Well, I'm not good at revealing myself right when I mention the cost of the card, but it costs six debt, so that means you can essentially buy it whenever, but you will have to deal with the consequences of paying off the debt afterwards. Then we have Slay, gain two horses, and horses are those one-off laboratories that give you plus two cards and plus one action. And then afterwards you have to return them to their pile. And Slay just gains you two, so at a later point in the game you will draw two cards. For one terminal action played this turn, you will draw two cards later. Well, you will draw four cards, but you also have to draw the horses first, so it net draws you two cards. So it's a bit like a moat in effect. And it also has a passive effect or a reaction effect. When you gain a card, you may discard this to put that card into your hand or onto your deck, which is a nice add-on, but not used super often. Sometimes if you have two slays and play one, you can put a horse into your hand and continue your turn, sacrificing some next turn draw. But yeah, slay is still nicer than moat because you cannot draw cards dead when playing it. So it's, in my opinion, usually quite pleasant, but also not the most exciting card. Snake Witch says plus one card, plus one action. If your hand has no duplicate cards, you may reveal the Snake Witch that you just, or no, you may reveal the hand and return the Snake Witch to its pile to have each other player gain a curse. And yeah, this falls a bit short in comparison to the other cursor here, which is Charlatan, saying plus three money, and each other player gains a curse without any condition. And also in games using this, curse is also a treasure worth one, which you can see over here, that we can play curses now, and they will give us one coin on play. So they are not that bad. They're still pretty bad because they're negative VP, but we can at least do something with them. And Charlatan, well, it doesn't draw you cards, but it gives you a bit of money, and it can snowball sometimes, especially with cards like Daimyo or King's Court in the Kingdom. Root Cellar, plus three cards, plus one action, plus three debt. Very simple. And sometimes if you don't need to get out of debt, then Root Cellar is super nice draw, but if you need to somehow pay off the debt, well, there are better cards to do so, and usually the three debt can hurt quite a lot, unless you like draw two or three golds, and he, of course, will be able to easily get rid of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes more useful, other times not that useful. But here, I think there are better alternatives to draw, like Slay and Daimyo King's Court and Imperial Envoy stuff. Bounty Hunters says +1 card, exile a card from your hand, and if you didn't have a copy of it in exile, you get 3 coins. And yeah, what does exiling mean? Exile is an extra mat, but in the digital space, it's just imaginary, of course. And each player has one of those mats, and when you exile a card, you put that card on that mat, and whenever you gain a copy of that card, like if you exile a horse and then gain a copy of a horse later, you can discard all copies of that horse from your exile mat into your deck, and yeah, get them back this way. But for example, if you exile estates, you could do the same when you gain more estates, or you can just leave them there and they still count towards your deck. So exile is quite a nice mechanic. And Bounty Hunter is a very strong opener for that reason, especially since it gives you the +3 the first time you exile a new copy of a card, like Copper or Estate. The first one, we will get money. Hostelry, +1 card, +2 actions, so it is a village. And when you gain this, you may discard any number of treasures revealed to gain that many horses. And this effect is deceptively strong. Like it doesn't look like that much. Like if you have 6 money, you may as well play the 2 extra coppers to buy a gold, right? But you can also for 4 buy a hostelry, discard 2 coppers, and have 2 horses in your deck, which will then at a later point boost your gaining power, your buying power even more. And hostelry shenanigans can be super strong. In this kingdom, I don't know whether we need to go for it, but we might. Let's see. Tiara, +1 buy. This turn, when you gain a card, you may put it onto your deck. You may play a treasure from your hand twice. And especially the top decking is very, very strong to set up the next turn. But a buy and also double playing a treasure, like if you double play a gold, the Tiara essentially becomes a gold with plus buy slapped onto it. It can be quite strong. Charlatan we already had. Imperial Envoy is +5 cards, +1 buy, and 2 debt. So similar to Root Cellar, giving you a bit of debt on play, but having a very strong effect by itself. And I think we will go for this just for the plus buy as well. And the goal here, anyways, is to do some Daimyo King's Court stuff, because King's Court is an action card for 7 money, 7 coins, saying you may play an action card from your hand 3 times. And that means that you can, for example, triple curse your opponent and get 9 money from a single charlatan play. But also there is more stuff going on with King's Court, because King's Court has a pretty insane interaction with Daimyo. Usually you try to line King's Courts up with other King's Courts in order to triple more actions, because if you triple another King's Court, then you play that King's Court 3 times, and then you can triple play 3 actions instead of just 2, if had you just played the King's Courts one by one. And Daimyo magnifies this thing. I don't know, it's crazy. If you first play a Daimyo, then a King's Court, you will double play the King's Court. Actually, let me try to visualize this. I've heard something. If you first play a Daimyo and then a King's Court, and then you will double play the King's Court, as I said. And that means you can triple play 2 actions afterwards. And if that first action afterwards is another Daimyo, you will triple play that Daimyo. And then, because the next non-command action you play is the King's Court, you will essentially play that King's Court on the second play 4 times. And then you'll have, yeah, already out of this Daimyo, King's Court, Daimyo, King's Court play, you will be able to triple 4 actions. And yeah, then for example, you can triple play another King's Court, and it really has the potential of going crazy. So that's what we're aiming for in this kingdom. And also, of course, just King's Court on King's Court, as I said, pretty strong. Way of the Pig, we saw it yesterday. It lets us play any action cards as just +1 card and +1 action, making Daimyo even stronger, because we can, for example, if we double play Charlatan, even though we have other actions in hand, we can pick the Charlatan ones and then play it for its normal effect once and still go on with our turn afterwards. Finally, we have Kintsugi, which is an event saying trash a card from your hand if you've gained a gold this game, which is oddly specific, but it is a feature of this card. If you've gained a gold this game, you gain a card costing up to 2 more than the trashed card. So initially, it's just a 3-cost trasher of a single card, but as soon as you have gained the gold in the game, you can use it to remodel, and that's not to be underestimated because you can turn provinces into provinces for just three coins and a buy at the end of the game. It's also nice to consider in the opening because it reduces your starting deck by 1 card. But here, yeah, I'm not super convinced it's the strongest option to open with. Yeah, that wraps up the discussion of the kingdom. Due to my slightly tired state, I might have been a bit slow on that, I'm sorry. But we can now look at the kingdom plot. The kingdom plot, which is very, very nice, as we have thinning in Bounty Hunter. Well, essentially it's Bounty Hunter and Kintsugi. Both are not the strongest or fastest thinners, but can thin you pretty reliably. We have draw in, well, Imperial Envoy, in Slay, in King's Court, somewhat also in Hostelry, and Root Cellar. I'm actually not sure why the draw button is only at 2, but probably because all of those options are not the strongest kinds of draw without support, but supporting each other, they magnify to an amazing amount of draw. Village we have in King's Court, Daimyo, well, mostly those, but also Hostelry. So a lot of that stuff going on. Charlatan is a fairly strong attack, which you shouldn't discard. And since you can curse your opponents, I have this victory alt VP thing at 1 out of 5. 1 out of 4, sorry. But yeah, it's the alt VP stuff is not that strong here, of course. And what do we want to go for in this kingdom? As I said, the Daimyo King's Court combo can be crazy, so we will try to aim for getting a few King's Courts, a few Daimyos in our deck. Probably use Tiara, and let me get rid of this, Tiara to top deck King's Courts when we know that we have Daimyos, or vice versa. And so the priority will be to, well, thin down, get Daimyos, King's Courts, also get a Charlatan to slow down the AI and not eat up all of the 10 curses. That would be quite bad. And yeah, then make our way through. How do we facilitate this? Well, opening wise, I think the strongest opening in this kingdom, whatever split you get, could be Slay Bounty Hunter, but also could arguably be Bounty Hunter Daimyo if you feel like you're a bit risky. Because the high roll, of course, is great, but the low roll of the Daimyo missing your Bounty Hunter is quite bad. And another pretty good option is just going for Bounty Hunter Kintsugi. But the reason I think the Slay is better is that it reduces your risk, the risk of further Daimyo buys dudding, like not finding actions. And you want to maximize them finding actions because that's the most effective they can be. And that's why, yeah, I think the Bounty Hunter Slay Open is the best here. And it's pretty strong at that. So Kintsugi or Slay on 3-4 should be both pretty good. AI goes for the Kintsugi thing. We get to put a Slay in, and at this point I think it's nice to thin out this estate. This will yield us 6, which we could use to either buy a Daimyo or a Tiara or a Charlatan or an Imperial Envoy. And they all look like good options. I actually think at this point we still are pretty good at just buying a Daimyo. We have put 2 horses and a sleigh in there. The bounty hunter will be in there as well. So we are pretty likely to not dud with the Daimyo. I'm saying as we are not dudding with the Daimyo. Okay, good. Actually, we could think about drawing here with this second sleigh play instead of getting 2 more horses in. Because what is 3 going to do for us? We will thin out another estate, okay. But if we hit 4 here, we can buy a tiara, which is pretty likely, given the 4 coppers in our deck. And if we find the bounty hunter, we even get to thin the copper already. So maybe, yeah, I'm feeling the way of the pig. So getting a tiara in now seems pretty good. AI goes for Daimyo as well. We could think about just, what is this last card? I think it's a copper, right? No, we drew one we drew the last copper last turn. What is this last card? Is it the sleigh? Is it the other horse? I think it's the other horse. In which case, I think we just leave the horse on top, end our actions, and buy another daimyo. And that means that we'll have a horse top decked on one hand, and we'll have a pretty amazing shuffle. I mean, we could play these horses now, but I think I'm feeling this a bit more. Let's see, maybe we get to top deck another daimyo here. Seems like it. Okay. Yeah, what do we do? This could be another sleigh as well. We should try to hit King's Court soon-ish. We're a bit low on money, actually. So maybe we just buy silver and top deck Daimyo and try to hope for the best on the next turn. Decline top decking the silver, but top deck the Daimyo. And now, yeah, we should also get a charlatan ourselves. The bounty hunter will be able to get money out of exiling a curse. Actually, yeah, let's triple play the horse just to draw a bunch, or triple play the horse by playing 2 daimyos first. We could even quadruple play it, but I think it's nicer to double play the bounty hunter in a bit. So let's do this, play the horse 3 times. Or do we try to draw through with the daimyo horse combo again? No, I think just going for this is better, because now we can even retain one of the horses in our deck. Play this on the bounty hunter, play this normally, and last card is the tiara. So we can play the sleigh here, double play the silver. Okay, and we can top deck King's Court. Actually, do we want to top deck that? I really want to get the charlatan in for a bit more payload and also to annoy the AI a bit. And we will be able to do King's Court stuff later. At this point, we're a bit low on money, to be honest, because we've exiled all of the unique cards that we wanted to exile. So yeah, probably charlatan, not top decking it, and instead top decking a daimyo, or going for the risky play and just buying a tiara might be better. No, let's top deck a daimyo and let's see where we will go from that. If worst comes to worst, we will just go for a bunch of pigging of this bounty hunter. But AI is moving along as well. It has 2 daimyos, but yeah, let's see. Okay, we get to. Do we want to quadruple play this horse? Yes, let's go for it. We have another daimyo in there. So yeah, we do want to get rid of. Actually, do we want to get rid of all of those curses, or do we just not care? I think we don't care. So we double play the charlatan here and play this normally. Then get 2 horses into this shuffle, draw into it, exile another curse, double play the silver, and now we can top deck King's Court with the horse there and Imperial Envoy. Or, yeah, I think we need to plus buy at this point. We're a bit thin on that. We could also go for another tiara, which would give us 2 extra buys. The Imperial Envoy potentially more. What does this want to be? The Imperial Envoy is a bit harsh on the money, so actually I think I like the Tiara a bit more. Yeah, we'll play this horse first here and try to... Oh, wow, we eat a lot of the curses and AI has a bunch of money. That's actually quite scary. I'm not going to lie, and it's only turn 9. AI is doing really well. Wow. But yeah, let's see what we can do here. Unfortunately, we do not find a Daimyo first, so we need to... I think we need to triple play this horse with the King's Court. But we do get to Daimyo another horse, and here these Daimyos can double play the charlatan. Yeah, I think that's good. Get rid of one of those curses, or do we try to draw on a bit? Yeah, I think we need to draw on actually. There's the sleigh and silver in there, which would all be good to draw. Yeah, I think that's the best course of action. So 22 and 4 buys. I think we should top deck some of this stuff. Actually, the charlatan not probably. A draw card, as we've gotten rid of all of these horses, and another Daimyo, and hope that we can somewhat outrace the AI on its run to provinces, because it's not looking that great, especially with Kintsugi around. Now we get to do this multiple Daimyo plays that I told you about. Let's actually not play this Imperial Envoy too much. Well, we can play it. How many buys do we need? Let's play it normally once more and then pig it. Now this King's Court can play another Daimyo, and which can play another King's Court. Doesn't really matter. We're going to draw in either way, and are going to now triple play these charlatans. Are going to now, well, can do some more King's Court boosting there. Get rid of this horse because it gives us 3 money. Can get rid of 2 more curses out of this deck. Play normally, discard this horse from exile, and play this one once again. And now, well, we have those 7 horses there. I don't think we want to play any of those King's Court plays, as sad as it is. So we decline all this. We pick the Daimyo. We can also play it normally, I guess, end our actions here. And we can play all of those treasures. Fortunately, we are pretty far behind in points, and we have top decked a bunch of horses. I think what we need to do is just get as much payload as possible into our deck, and hope that we can find our combo next turn. What we could also do is, instead of buying all of those charlatans, is buy a gold first, which can turn into a province, and then Kintsugi this horse into one of the charlatans. Decline this, decline that, and top deck 1 Daimyo. Or do we go for another Tiara? For another plus buy? I think we need to be really explosive, unless the AI, of course, next turn just obliterates the province pile, which could be an option. I mean, it's turn 10, turn 11, so I wouldn't be all too surprised. But yeah, let's see what AI will do. It goes for Bounty Hunter Imperial Envoy, so it is not going to do all of the scary stuff. But had it collided Daimyo King's Court, then we might have been in a lot of trouble. But we are still not out of the pond, as they say, as we will need to find the King's Court Daimyo combo. The amazing thing about this combo, I think I didn't mention it in the beginning, apart from getting 4 King's Court plays afterwards, is that it also draws you 2 cards and gives you 3 actions, which is insanity. Like, out of nothing, we're essentially drawing our deck, right? And we can just click all of those juicy action cards, play all of those juicy charlatans, and we still have more than enough King's Court plays, like 5 out of 11. It's really insane. We can get rid of this horse, get rid of this, actually not get rid of more of the things, maybe may have to pick this once, and now we have to pick this again, or do we get rid of the sleigh? I think we way off the pig it again. Now this King's Court we can also way off the pig. We had the province. Yeah, we should have first picked for some of the King's Courts before going for this nonsense, of course. But yeah, we find the Imperial Envoy finally, and we can play it once, play it twice, pig it once, play this King's Court normally, recharge our King's Court plays via the Daimyo, and now play all of these things for a bunch of money, and it's crazy. This combo is super busted. Like, we could have had 3 more money and even more. But yeah, at this point, oh well, I should not triple play the curse, but the silver instead. Yeah, and I'm talking nonsense, of course, double play. But yeah, we get to skip treasures, pay debt, and Kintsugi this gold into a province. And we have more than enough money to buy out the rest of the provinces and end the game in a nice fashion. And yeah, not going to lie, I was kind of scared of the AI just obliterating the last 4 provinces there. It could have, the last 5 provinces there. It could have done so by setting up the Daimyo King's Court combo. But yeah, maybe it had too much of a junky deck. How much? Well, it did have only 3 coppers left there, but still, it only had those 2 Daimyos and the 1 King's Court, so would have needed to be unlucky. But yeah, AI did a good job of going for provinces early. I think you should. Maybe we overbuilt a bit, but also we were kind of forced to overbuild. We couldn't afford to just lose to this province pile out. Yeah, but don't sleep on Daimyo King's Court. And also the fun thing about this is this was 12 turns, which is incredibly fast. And we had this amazing last turn with almost 60 money, or we could have had more than 60 money if we had double played the gold instead. We had this amazing last turn after 12 turns, and I looked it up, but all of the kingdoms that involved Daimyo so far were faster than this. All of the kingdoms that I played on camera and uploaded to YouTube were 10 turns or faster. It's insane. This card is so busted. Yeah, I don't know. And there were 5 of the daily kingdoms in the recent history in the last 3 months since I started uploading these videos. So yeah, insane that this 12 turn Insanity Kingdom is the slowest one of the Daimyo kingdoms. Anyways, I know I'm babbling a bit. It's probably because I had a beer before, but I still hope I could make some sense of this kingdom and I don't know, provide some good walkthrough. But yeah, I will try to catch you in the next one, and until then, goodbye.